All right, now for America's Talking Firearms Friday, and a lot of activity across the country in state houses that we're going to take a look at here. In Virginia, after the Virginia Senate has already approved and advanced a bill that could lead to a ban on semi-automatic firearms in that state, the House debating what to do with gun transfers. Here's Delegate Ren Williams asking a bill sponsor just about that question.
And then this bill right here, this actually makes it a state crime to sell a firearm to a firearm dealer. It says you cannot transfer it to any person, and there is no exception to allowing a dealer to purchase a firearm from you. The only exceptions that are in there is the dealer is able to sell to each other and to law enforcement. So the government can keep their guns, but you can't.
Again, that's an interesting debate there from Virginia. Meanwhile, close by in Georgia, State Representative Chuck Efstration, he talked about how he's looking to get weapons detection systems into Georgia's school systems.
This does not apply to entrances that remained locked or equipped with alarms and are not intended for daily use, such as emergency exits. As a practicing attorney, just in my everyday life, when I'm going into the courthouse, I'm used to passing through courthouse security, which includes a weapons detection system. It's just part of my everyday life, and I'm used to it. And I think that it's a necessary component of keeping our courthouses safe. And so in my mind, I believe that our public schools should have similar systems in place. Now,
the State House in New Mexico, they've introduced measures to require gun safety classes for certain schools.
An act relating to public schools, requiring school districts and charter schools to provide annual firearm safety training, providing requirements for the training, assigning powers and duties to the Public Education Department and the Department of Public Safety. House Bill 324.
House Bill 324.
Meanwhile, in West Virginia, the West Virginian Senate, they're looking to allow for individuals who are 18 years old to 20 years old to carry concealed firearms.
Your Committee on the Judiciary has had under consideration Senate Bill 30, allowing 18 to 20-year-olds to carry concealed weapon without permit, and reports back to committee substitute for same, with the recommendation that the committee substitute do pass, respectfully submitted.
A lot of different things happening across the country in different state houses dealing with the Second Amendment and firearms possession in Maryland. The House there discussing waiting periods for firearms purchases, but allowing for police to have shorter waiting periods than their 7 to 9 day waiting period in Maryland.
This bill establishes an exemption for the sale, rental, or transfer of a regulated firearm from the 7-day required period after an application is executed when the purchaser, renter, or receiver of the regulated firearm is a law enforcement officer, an individual who retired as a law enforcement officer and in good standing from law enforcement agency, or an individual whom a permit to wear, carry, and transport a firearm has been issued.
In Tennessee, legislators grappling with the question of, do gun owners who live in rental properties still have the Second Amendment right? And that's a question that was brought up in that particular state.
This bill is intended to do one simple thing: ensure that tenants, whether residential or commercial, are not required to give up their ability to lawfully defend themselves inside the premises they lease and control. And although this bill was introduced last year, I've recently received several thoughtful comments and some very specific fact patterns that deserve a closer look, particularly to make sure that the bill is as tight and as clear as it should be.
Again, that's Tennessee House Representative Lee Reeves. He explained his bill, but he said he's willing to hold off on advancing that to get more input, and as he said, to make the bill even tighter. Meanwhile, in Kansas, a Kansas Senate staffer talked about a bill that would reduce the liability for federal firearms licensees, also known as licensed gun dealers.
The bill would provide immunity to the firearm licensee for any actions that arise out of returning that firearm to the owner of the firearm. So there would be no civil liability on the part of the federal firearms licensee for returning the firearm to its owner at the conclusion of that agreement. The bill does provide that the immunity doesn't apply to any unlawful actions on the part of the federal firearms licensee.
Always interesting to see the different patchwork of measures that state houses across the country are tackling when it comes to the Second Amendment and firearm possession. And that's America's Talking for Firearms Friday. From my studios in Central Illinois, I'm Greg Bishop. Be sure to join us Monday for more stories impacting you, the taxpayer, from all across the country, only right here with the Center Square Daily.